reached up to the point where from where we'll start. I'll just revise for you quickly.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we started with mathematical model. Hope screen is visible to you. We've seen different applications where we can use the mathematical models. There are two types of models which we have seen. One is a physical model and one is a simulated model, simulation model. Physical, we can say it is like a prototype, a blueprint. For example, in civil engineering, if an engineer constructs and building or design a building, he create a similar small model which looks like actual building, and accordingly the construction is done and actual infrastructure is created. So the small building which is similar, like it shows the storages, how many storage it has, windows and doors and all the stuff, and paint and everything. It's a very small model. It's not real, but it is a physical model. It's a, we can say it is a scaled model, like very small, which we can create actual larger one. So scale models, prototype models. So these are the physical models which we have seen. Next is mathematical or simulation model, where we create formulas, or we take a judgment and accordingly we create such process of model, and we try to create such a model by using linear programs, linear algebra, or simulation. So such kind of models are called as a mathematical model, simulation models. For example, if there is a training to become a pilot, right? So pilots, if they start directly flying the airplanes, then definitely it will be a problem, or helicopters, because if they do not learn very easily, and if it crashes, a huge loss, because one airplane, or we can say one helicopter, will be of crores. So it's not possible to train directly on the airplane. So what they do, we create similar behaving kind of a model, which is not real airplane, which is not real helicopter, but it gives you feel. It will behave like similar. So it will be inside a single room also, and that is a simulation model, which is based on the programs and analytical queuing models and simulation models. So such trainee pilots are trained on that, and once they get expert in that, they will be given actual airplanes or helicopters to fly. So this is a kind of models are called as a simulation model. So simulation of a system is operation of a model which is representation of actual system, but it is not real one. Applications we have seen, I'm just quickly revising for you, Shraddha. Designing and analyzing manufacturing systems. We can use evaluating hardware and software requirements for a computer system also, where we can use these simulation models, mathematical models. Even small calculator also we can create a mathematical model, because calculator will give you the functionalities, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So what we do, we assign such variables, create a formula, and if we add two variables, we store that, and that will be displayed as a result, right? So such a way that we create formulas, and accordingly we create a program, a software. And before actual we implement it, we test it by using the simulation models. How many numbers we can add, what will be the length of the result, multiplication. If we take two digits number, definitely answer of multiplication of two digits number will be four digits, right? Suppose 10 multiplied by 10, so it is more than the required digits. So such a way, so we take test of this, and we can, based on that, we can create such actual applications, real models. Even simulation models also can behave or can be counted as a real one, no doubt in that, but we can test it. It can be a combination of physical and simulation, where we can say calculator. inside the hardware part, inside the physical model, there is a software which is used. So such a way. So there are tremendous applications of these models. Evaluating new military weapon systems, tactics, determining ordering policies for inventory systems. We can even track in transportation also we can use. Designing communication systems where different message protocols can be used. So these we can create a prototype models, simulation models. Again, as I said, transportation facilities, freeways, airports, subways, ports. To create this, we can create a simulation and physical model. We can test and then we can create real ones. Service organizations such as hospitals, post offices, fast food restaurants. Here also we can use this simulation models and physical model also. Analyzing financial and economic systems, predicting where the share market will go up or it will go down. Accordingly, we can invest. So, such kind of simulation models are there which will give you what will happen. It depends on the prediction percentage, right? If prediction percentage is 100%, definitely it will happen like that. If prediction percentage is 70, 80, we can say that, yeah, almost there are 70% chances of happening it. So these predicting models, what they will predict that they will predict that in next week the market will go up. Which are the shares? Which are the company shares which we can count? Which are going to up or which are going to down? Upgoing share markets or shares we can buy. Downgoing shares we can sell. So we can take a decision on that. But this is a prediction. 100% assurance of it will happen is nothing. Zero. Nobody will give you such kind of guarantee. But we can get an idea. Your uh, environment, weather prediction. These are the models which uses simulations. Simulation maths, equations, formulas, and they can predict that next 4 hours, next 40 hours, 48 hours, there will be a particular heavy rain in particular regions. There will be a medium rain in particular regions. That is a prediction. Sometimes it may 100% accurate. Sometimes it is 70-80% accurate. Sometimes it is 0% accurate. But at least we can create such models, simulation models, which can give you what will happen and you can take a decision. So many applications are there. This was the last part which we have seen in last lecture, steps in simulation model building. So there are 9 to 10 steps. We'll see one by one. This is also covered, Shraddha, but for you, I am revising. You are the only one right now who has joined. And so, steps in simulation and model building. First step is define an achievable goal. So, first we have to fix our target, and that should be achievable. If I say I will land on sun, it's not possible. Maybe in future it is possible, but right now it's not possible to land on sun. Yeah, we can land on moon, right? Already we have people, we means people have visited moon, they have gone, they have came back, right? But nobody else, or rather than nobody one on the world who's present who has visited sun and came back. So we can say it's a goal which is not yet achieved. So if I set target, I will visit sun and I will come back. It's impossible right now. So this goal is never going to achieve, right? I mean to give you the clear idea that first we have to define what we can do, what we require, and whether it is feasible. Feasible means achievable. So define an achievable goal when we define a model or when we try to create a model of something. So that is the first step. Define an achievable, not only goal, but achievable goal. Then once our goal, which is achievable, is a set, we can start working on it. So we second step, put together a complete mixture of skills on the team. So the people who are directly or indirectly involved in the process of achieving goal will focus. These people will be skilled, and as per the different skills required, such different skill acquiring people will take inside a team, and these people will work so that they can achieve together as a team a goal. Sometimes third step involve the end user, sometimes the customer for whom we are creating. Then there are again two types: project and product. Product we create, it's not a requirement, but we make a market analysis, and based on that we create a product, right, to launch a product. Your operating system which is launched by Microsoft is a product. So Microsoft can involve end user who are going to actually use and take feedback from them so that they can create a good product. So that is the third step. So involve the end user so that he or she can contribute while model is created or actual implementation is done. Then next step is fourth way. Once we know what we are going to do, what skills are required, what are the different feedbacks we can consider, and then we can, based on these things, based on the collected information up to third step, we can decide a simulation model. So we can choose the appropriate simulation tools by which we can create a simulation model or physical model. So choose appropriate tools. That is the fourth step. Fifth step is model the appropriate level of detail. Now we have choose the tools. Now we'll define what exactly we are going to do and all the details regarding that. That how much information we want and how much detail we can code, we can create a physical or simulation model in that. So that is the fifth step. Next, you go on for creating six steps. That is, start early to collect the necessary input data. Now, when we say analysis, study, right, then we require a huge information, detailed information, so that we can come to an conclusion. If on small information, if we take decision, there are chances that system may fail, right? So we need to start early, collect required detailed information at the earliest. So that is the sixth step. Once we define goal, we have a skill team, we involve the end user to take a feedback, we chose the appropriate simulation tool, and they in what exactly we are going to do, we go for detailing of it, then we start collection of data. So start early to collect necessary input data. That is the sixth step. Next step is seventh. That is, provide adequate and ongoing documentation. So we have collected, but we have not documented. After some days, we forgot everything. That is the rule. So what to do? So better you write some or create an entire documentation of each and every detail, small step, so that later on also you can refer it. Last time, what you did in choosing the appropriate model simulation tool, you forget it probable. But if you have, yeah, we compare seven, and out of that we have chosen this tool because it is advantageous. So such a documentation, if you prepare, definitely you will get everything. Even comparison chart also will give you. If suppose this is the requirement and third which tool is better for that, then you can go to choose that third tool rather than first and second. Happen. So proper documentation is required. Next step is 8. Develop a plan for adequate model verification. Now, what exactly we are going to do, appropriate detail level we have created in fifth. We have to go next step. So develop a plan. So create again plan how this model, whether it is working rightly or whether we are on right track. We will verify it. So how we are going to verify? We have to create a plan so that we can implement. So that is developing eighth, developing a plan for adequate model. And normally here we ask the right answers. Whether we get a right answers, that is what we define in verification. Next is validation step. Here we ask right questions. So did we ask the right questions? That is validated in the ninth step. For same, also we create a plan, develop a plan. And then next step is last one, that is a 10, develop a plan for statistical output analysis. Now we have created we have collected information, we have set goal, we have a skill information, we have chosen the appropriate model, uh, what exactly the model will work, how it will work, we have created. We will provide documentation of each and everything. Then we provide a model for verification, whether if by implementing this step, whether we are going to get the final answer. Yes. So we will verify, then we'll validate, and once everything is ready, then whatever output we are getting, we have to study it, analyze it, whether whatever output we have set accordingly as per expected output, whether we have achieved the output. And for that, to check it, to verify it, again we'll create a plan which is for statistical output analysis. Once our output analysis is ready, then we can say that's our goal which we have set. So these are the 10 steps inside the simulation model building. Define an achievable goal, put together a complete mixture of skills on the team, involve the end user, choose appropriate simulation tools, model the appropriate levels of details, start early to collect necessary input data, provide adequate and ongoing documentation process, develop a plan for adequate model verification. Next is develop a plan for model validation. In verification, we say, did we get the right answers? Such kind of questions will be there. And in validation, did we ask the right questions? And 10th one is develop a plan for statistical output analysis. So by implementation of these, or by following these 10 steps, we can create a simulation model. Achievable goal, as I said, when we set a goal, it should not be like to model this, this is required, and that's a dream. No, we require that we should select such goal and we should go for the feasibility test, whether it is feasible, whether it is possible to work, whether such kind of thing can become a reality. So goal selection is very much important, and that should be a concrete decision. What happens, the way you move on next, you get detailed information, and detailed information when you get, there are chances that your goal may change. So that's why, so goal change with increasing insight. That's why you should create a goal by setting a feasibility. Sometimes what happens, you start working, and you at particular point you feel that, or you get an analysis that this is not achievable. This can also happen. And sometimes what happens, you go on and then analysis will give, yeah, you would have added inside your implementation, but this will lead you to the final goal, right? So that's why goal change with increasing insight. So goal should be concrete, but in such a way that you should have selected, determined feasibility test of it, and then set a goal. Now complete skills on the team. We know what we require. We require knowledge of system which we are going to investigate, so that we can get a clear picture of it. And so that we require a skill team, skill person who can give you the same, the knowledge. We require system analyst kind of a skill where we formulate a model, right? So the people who are working on this, they should have this skill, system analyst. We don't require only knowledgeable persons, we require system analyst also. And to build model, we require model programming programs which will define, which will create statistical model, mathematical model, and accordingly programs will be written. So we require such people also. Data collection skills, you require such people who can collect data, each and minor detail they can collect, and they can give you the analysis, because on that itself everything next steps is based. So we require this data collection also, who can perform very better. We require a data and we require we are collecting C and D kind of data. It's not of any use. We will waste our time, right? So finding what is required and collecting the required information, that is more important. And you require such skills as a team, as a person, as a people, as a model creator. Once your input data is available, you have to analyze it. So statistical skills, analysis. So that is also skill. Statistical skill is required. So inside your team, you require all this. You should have. And then only you can create a good model. Even we have to analyze our output also, right? So more statistical skills required who can analysis of output they can make. When we design, even there also we require statistical skill persons. Design of experiments, creating models, architectural models, flow of data, we have decided. And to get all this works, you require managerial skills, management skills. So to get everyone inspired to achieve a goal on a single track. So you require statistical skills, output data analysis persons, information collection person, programming persons, knowledge persons, all should work for a single goal. So you require also management. All the skill sets are required inside your team so that you can put all this mixture on a single goal and you can achieve it. Involve the end user. Sometimes what happens, actual model we create a product, we create a project, but who are the users? They feel when they use that this should be there, this that should be there, this should be behave like that on all the things. So we can create such kind of feedback systems where we can collect. And rather than getting a feedback, you can involve the end user at a start so that he can give you what he want, what exactly the problems he face, so that you can create such kind of model. So end user can do this for you. So you can involve him, but he should be convincing you that this is required, this is what I want, right? Then definitely you can believe on him and you can create a model. So involving end user is also a very good thing, but not at the end. From start, if you involve, definitely it will give you to define a goal, achievable goal very easily. Choose appropriate simulation tools. We can have there three alternatives. We can build a model as per the languages, as per general purpose languages. We can build model in simulation languages, and we can have a special purpose simulation packages for using. So we can define these based on these criteria or alternatives. We can choose the appropriate simulation tools, whether we are going for general purpose language, whether we are going for general simulation languages, or whether we are going for packages. You can use all three also, no problem. Simulation language you can define, but actually your general purpose language you can use for communication. And at the end you can have these packages which are used for different functionalities. So you can have these combinations when you choose a model. Now when we go for general purpose languages, we do have some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are little or no additional software cost is required if we go for general purpose languages. And it is portable, it is universally acceptable. So all over universe world it is available. That's the main thing. For example, if I'm moving in China, I talk Chinese language? No. Then how I will communicate with the people in China? It's impossible. So what to do? So you can use a general language which is all over world accepted, English, right? Then you can definitely have a communication with them. So that is the advantages. Disadvantages. Every model starts from scratch. So very little reusable code is there. So everything you have to create from start. So it can requires a high time. It can have a long development cycle for each model, and again difficulty in verification phase. So these are the disadvantages when we go for general purpose languages. We list few of them: Fortran, Pascal, Modula, ADA, where this is used for Department of Defense, so that they can go for standardization processes. CCPP, you know it, object oriented programming language. Advantages are standardized features often required in the modeling, and you can choose it. You can include them. So they can have a shorter life cycle because each model can be standardized and it can have this languages available easily. We can use the code which are readable and which are reusable. Disadvantages, as this software costs are higher. Sometimes if you don't have such kind of skill, you require special training for that. So you require additional training to go for it. To name a few: GPSS, SIMS script to Roman 2.5. So this is a English like a problem description language, which have a compiled programs. It's a complete language, and we can have world view. We can see the processes, resources, continuous in the sim script. GPSS is a block structured language which have a base of Fortran. So we can view the transactions or facilities. There's also one more mode Sim3, which is a modern object-oriented language. We can have this again as a worldwide processes we can see. Simula is also there. Slam, CSIM. All these are modeling special purpose simulation packages which we can use. Advantage is that very quick development of complex models we can create by using this. We have very small errors, minimal errors. Disadvantage, again, these softwares are highly costed. It have a limited scope of applicability where we can apply. It will have a limited scope. We cannot apply all over because this is not a general purpose. Network, Roman 2.5, OpNet, these are the examples, ComNet, SimFactory. Sometimes how simulation model prices are calculated. Many people, most of people think that whatever package price is there for simulation, that is the final price of simulation, but it's not like that. Sometimes we require skilled people to use those packages softwares correctly, use those tools effectively. So we cannot include only that cost. So there are actually at least three components so that we can create or calculate the cost of simulation: purchase price of the softwares which are required, programmer or analyst time. That is what I said. Only package available and you can complete your simulation models. It will not happen like that. You require a skilled people so that they can effectively use these packages, programs they can write. And also sometime to get a result you have a span of it, time required, right? So all these things we can suppose one program is working for 1 year, then definitely that much cost should get added, right? It's not only about the technology which is purchased, timeliness also of results which is required by everyone, right? That is also included in the cost. Use some terminologies. System, I think you know it already. Attribute, a property of an object, of an entity is attribute. For example, checking account balance is a attribute of your banking application, banking system. Activities. Activity represent a time period of a specified length. For example, making bank deposits. So this is activity which is carried out, right? Event, change in the system state before we log in and after login. So there is a change, right? Example, arrival or beginning of a new execution, departure. So these are the events which are calculated. State variables. We can define the state of the system and we can restart simulation from particular state or state variables. Example, length of the job queue we can calculate, and we can again reassign new job. We can calculate the length of this. Processes, sequence of actions or events which are ordered on a time. So this is how we go for simulation time. P1, P2 is defined here. Event 1, event 2, or event 3, and then event 4. From event 1 to event 2, we define this action 1. And E2 or E3 to E4, this is action 2 for process P1. For P2, we can say that this is the E1 of P2, A1 action of from E1 to E2, then action 2, E3 to E4 event. So simulation time we can calculate. This is a comparison of two processes, simulation methodologies. If timeline considered, we can say P1 is finishing before P2. System and components, system, banking systems, entities, customers are the objectives or entities which are present in the banking. Attributes, we can check account balance, we can deposit money, we can withdraw money. Activities, that is what, making deposits. Events, arrival and departure, or starting of use of the banking system, and closing. Up to that, whatever we perform, those will be called as events. State variables, number of busy tellers, machines, we can say, number of customers inside the waiting who want to make activities, right? So they can arrive, they can departure, they can check, and there will be different attributes which will be part of banking, and customers will use the features provided. Simulation views are pure discrete, where we can say it is event oriented, activity oriented, process oriented, as I said here. Event oriented based on the arrival and departure, activity oriented based on the making deposits and withdrawing money, all this. Based on the attributes, attribute oriented like checking account balance, withdrawing money, depositing money, acquiring for loan, application for loan, reimbursement of loan. And one can be a continuous, combined discrete or continuous simulation. So this is how we can go for a mathematical model. The example of both models, continuous time and discrete time models, where we are going for CPU scheduling model and number of students attending the class. So this is a continuous time and this is a discrete time. This is continuous, starting with Monday to Friday, and this is on timelines. Fridays, discrete time. So this is how we can calculate the number of students attending the class, number of jobs in the queue, higher, lower, right, like this. So we can create they take the values and we can show them by using the different graphs, no problem. Stochastic and deterministic models. We go for details and we work for defining the documentation of each and every detail part. So we are giving information about the steps. Collection of data. Data comes in two quantities. Too much, but we require that much. Sometimes we do have a huge data and usable data is very less. That is also one of the concern. Too little and too much. Inside that, how much applicable data, how much analysis data we actually used, that is also the question. So we need information which can be represented by this statistical distribution, and we can have tools for it also. Documentation, as I said, we require to create documentation of each and everything, and for verification, we can ask the right answers. Simulation, yeah, simulation can provide you something that is not every other techniques will provide you. As I said, simulation tool can give you feel of and behaving of each and every entity which is a part of the world. Similarly, we can create such thing. Validation, so doing the right thing, right? So asking the right questions. So have I successfully added two variables using a calculator to values? Are float value and integer value are getting addition and getting result? So asking the right questions also important so that you can get answer. If yes, then I can say yeah. By using a calculator, I can add float values, numericals as a float values, integer values also. I can multiply both. 25 multiplied by 33.33. Yeah. So whether can I get this answer? If answer is yes, yeah, that feature is present inside my system. That is what I can say. So the validation, verification, validation. This is how. So asking the right questions is very much important. The way you ask questions, you can go to the depth of what is the exactly system. You can know it better. If something is missing, yeah, you can add it. And finally, you analyze the output, and for that you can use different techniques of analysis also, whether I have achieved or whether output is there, is it as per my expected output, so actual output is matching to the expected output, I can analyze, and that is in last step. If yes, yeah, then again I can go in the depth how much percentage it is matching or whether it is achieved completely or not completely. So that's it. This is the end of the fifth unit.